For problem number 5, we're given that the sine of twice an angle is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so the question is, if theta is between 0 and 2 pi, what values for theta can I plug in here that makes this guy true? Well, I'm going to make a substitution. So, not to confuse you, I'm going to just say the following. This is like saying the sine of, let's just call it a different angle, alpha, is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. So the substitution I'm making is that 2 theta is equal to alpha, which means that if I make a substitution here, if I multiply this guy, everything here, by 2, I have 0 is less than or equal to 2 theta, which is less than or equal to 4 pi. So what I'm really saying is that alpha has to be less than or equal to 4 pi. So let's go ahead and solve this. So I'll draw out my circle. Okay. So when is sine square root of 3 over 2? Well, sine is square root of 3 over 2. Sine measures height. So up here at 60 degrees. So this, we're looking at an angle of pi over 3. And then also over here at 2 pi over 3. So those are my two angles. So the angle that I'm looking at, but remember alpha is between 0 and 4 pi. So one of them is pi over 3. The next one is 2 pi over 3. But the angle that I'm looking at is between 0 and 4 pi. So as I keep working my way around, okay, so let's just, I'm going to make some dashes here. So okay. So first I work around and I get to pi over 3. Pi over 3 is certainly between 0 and 4 pi. Then I keep working, oh, and look at 2 pi over 3 is between 0 and 2 pi. So these guys are both going to be solutions as we work our way up. Okay, so these are the solutions for alpha. Okay, for the whole thing. Now if I keep working my way around, now I'm at 2 pi, but I still got to go to 4 pi, so I keep going, and then I'm up here at this plus 2 pi. So pi over 3 plus 2 pi is pi over 3 plus, let's see here, 6 pi over 3, or 7 pi over 3. So then we'll keep working. And if we keep walking over even further, now we're just going to add, so we basically have 2 pi over 3 plus a rotation. which gives us 8 pi over 3. So those are my alpha values. But remember, alpha is equal to twice theta. So if I want to know what theta values, what I have to do is take all of those alpha angles and divide them by 2. So the theta values that work are pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, which I'll reduce in a minute, 7 pi over 6, and 8 pi over 6. So these guys, let's just do it like this. We'll do it in a different color. So theta is equal to pi over 6, pi over 3, 7 pi over 6, and 4 pi over 3. So let's check to see if those actually work. Okay, so I want to check to make sure that the guys that I picked are going to give me square root of 3 over 2. So let's square root of 3 divided by 2 is 0.866. So first let's make sure that the sign of each of these gives us that. Now, remember our original equation, I guess I'll just box this part, is the sine of twice that angle's got to equal square root of 3 over 2. So the sine of 2 times pi over 6, it equals square root of 3 over 2. Now the next one is 2 times the sine of pi over 3. I get square root of 3 over 2 again. I'll go to the next one. I've got the sine of 2 times 7 pi over 6. Gives me that value again. And the last one is the sine of 2 times 4 pi over 3. So they're all equal to square root of 3 over 2. Now the second thing we have to make sure, so these guys all work in this equation, but are they all less than 2 pi? Because our restriction is they have to be between 0 and 2 pi. Now they're certainly more than 0. Well, 2 pi in terms of over 3, so look, pi over 6 is certainly less than 2 pi, right? Because pi over 6 is less than 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi. So that one's true. Now let's look at the next one. Pi over 3 is certainly less than 6 pi over 3, which is 2 pi. So that's true. Now let's check this guy. 7 pi over 6 is less than 12 pi over 6, which is 2 pi. So that one's true. So all of our angles are less than 2 pi. Let's just check this last one. So 4 pi over 3 is less than 6 pi over 3, which equals 2 pi. So all those guys work. There's a couple other ways that we can check this. If we grab your calculator, we can take a look at the graph of the sine of 2 theta. And what we want to know is when is it equal to square root of 3 over 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph the function, and I'm also going to graph what it's equal to. And so let's go between 0 and 2 pi. And let's do these by pi over 6s because they'll be easiest to see. And I'm going to go between -1 and 1, only because sine can only take values between -1 and 1. So here's the sine curve. And here's square root of 3 over 2. So I want you to notice the spots. There's one up top here, one here, one here, and one here, which means I should get 4 answers. And I do. Question is, what are these actual values? What are the angle values that correspond to them? So here's how you figure that out. There's on your calculator, if you hit second trace, and you go to intersect, which is number 5, it'll put this little dashed cursor on your graph. Now, it asks for the first curve, meaning which is the first line that you want to see where they intersect. So I'll hit enter on the sine curve. Now it should jump to the second one, which it did for me. If it doesn't, use your arrow keys. And I hit enter for second curve. And now it says guess where you think they cross. So I'll move over to about where they cross, and I'll hit enter. And it'll calculate this guy. So it says they cross at a height of 0.866. This is square root of 3 over 2. The angle is 3.66 radians. And I bet you if we take 7 pi and divide it by 6, we get 3.66. So that right there was this angle. So this guy right here is this angle right here. Oops. This first one is pi over 6. The second one is pi over 3. 7 pi over 6. 4 pi over 3. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is... let's see how much time I've got left on this recorder. It's at 12 minutes. I'll tell you what, I'll do another video. I'll do the next problem. I'll do it slightly different. It'll pretty much be the same thing, but I'll do it in a different technique so you can see which way you like.